Emeka Ogboh, the Nigerian sound artist, the Lagos sound person, and that became, I don't know, is it fair to say that became a bit of a label?
It became a label, not even became a bit of a label, but basically I let people label me. It's fine. That's how it works in the art.
Well, it facilitated something.
Yes. It kicked out a lot of stuff. That was my entry point into the art. I studied art, but I majored in graphic design. So this was my entry point into the art. Without it, I wouldn't maybe be here.
At some point, you also decided, now I've got what I need in terms of space to navigate here, and now I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
And you do this in very interesting ways, I find.
It takes time. When you start your art career, you really don't have that kind of opportunity or freedom to really switch, or you build yourself up first, and you can do whatever you want.
Well, you've done this quite nicely.
I should think so. I try. Bottom line is really doing what you like doing, and a lot of things help me pull that off. Freedom, being free to do what I want to do. If I had a gallery early, maybe they would not have supported trying to switch, but not being able to, or not having these things didn't limit me, because I had no one to impress.
Was this a choice you made, a conscious choice?
Yes. I wanted to discover myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm more of a, in many ways I'm a rebel. In many ways I love freedom.
So you go to Venice, you go to Kassel, you go to all of these, you go to Tate now. You have access to really the top end institutions that other people only dream of ever going to or being exhibited in. But you're not doing that by catering for anything necessarily that is expected by those spaces.
I didn't plan it, and I think maybe that's why I got there. If I was sort of focused in getting in these places, maybe I wouldn't have. I didn't plan it. I just did what I wanted to do. I worked from with my heart. I enjoyed what I was doing. I wanted to do something I enjoyed. To be honest, if I'm grateful that I'm in these places, don't get me wrong, but I think if I kind of focus in getting in these places, maybe I would not have gotten to these places. For many ways, maybe I would have wanted a gallery that would tell me, okay, you have to focus on commercial and do things this way and set it. It happened. I'm grateful, but I believe I got there because I wasn't focused on getting there. And the truth is, I didn't know many of these places or how important they are or how revered. It's not even important how revered they are. Mm-hmm. So you get into one and everybody's like, wow. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know about that.
And it was kind of like getting into one and then the rest just follows, or what?
I believe, but you also have to, it's not automatic. You get into one, you keep working. Mm-hmm. It's not like I showed the same works in all these places. No, yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm the hardest worker or whatever. It happened.
You are a bloody hard worker.
I'm a bloody hard worker, but I know people that work harder than I do.
I mean, I don't know if you want this on public record, but you're kind of like, you don't sleep. You wake up at what, 4 o'clock?
Yeah, but it's not that I wake up to work. It's that I only sleep that enough time. To be honest, most times I'm watching Netflix. I discovered Netflix is a good thing.
As an inspiration, as a source of inspiration.
It also lets your mind drift. It helps you not to be so focused on this work. Mm-hmm. And maybe when you come back to the work, your mind is kind of in a good place without it being stressful. If you work under pressure, you don't achieve anything.
Huh.
Yeah, because I also work under pressure, but the point is, if I keep it back to back without taking time off to watch Netflix or hang out or do something else or cook, if it's just like back to back work, you burn out. So the truth is, even at that moment you are watching this Netflix or doing something else, cooking or hanging out with friends, subconsciously you're working. Yeah. Then when you come back to this work, you realize you've been working, or your mind has been working. Then boom, it's finished. Food is always one of the first things you want to connect with or relate to wherever you move, right? And it's not also just your food that you're used to. It's also food from where you are at the moment. But we have eaten a certain kind of food, especially we Africans. And moving to Europe, it's a huge shift in terms of food taste. So we are always out hunting for our spot, hunting for our food. You want to find an African restaurant, Nigerian restaurant for me. you also want to find where you can buy certain kind of food, right? And it's not possible to find everything you need. So that's where you assimilate, right? You can talk about assimilation also through food, because then I want to make a certain kind of Nigerian soup. I can find all the dried ingredients, but I cannot find fresh stuff. So I'll find a local vegetable that I can substitute for a certain kind of vegetable back home. So it's all about food. Food links to migration, basically.
And how does that translate in your artworks? Because this is a new move from the sound artist that was to now another kind of entrepreneur.
I wouldn't call it entrepreneurship, because I'm not a beer seller, but I make beer, and it's beyond just taste in that sense, because it's about the whole concept. In Germany, there's something called Reinheitsgebot. It's the beer purity law, and what Reinheitsgebot basically means, or like what it's all about, it kind of determines what is beer and what is not beer, right? It says you can only make beer with water, hops, barley or malt, and yeast only. If it has any other thing, it becomes kind of contaminated. It's not real beer, right? And when you flip the concept of Reinheitsgebot to migration, you are talking about citizenship. What does it mean for someone to be German? That's why an African, or like a second generation African that was born here in Germany, the parents have naturalized in Germany, will always be questioned, where are you from? Because it does not, he or she does not look German. I'm creating a stout, which is a Schwarz beer. When you look at the beer color scale, it's blonde pale beers, is a dark beer. Already the beer color scale is already looking at the concept of race or skin color, more like, let's put it like that. So I'm also playing with that idea. Black, Schwarz, melanin. The bottle of the beer is also black completely. The name is Sufferhead, which comes from a Fela Kuti song, and also the idea that a lot of Africans here are suffering, so it's kind of like a satire to that whole move. The beer, part of what it has is chilli. Chilli is one of the notes that you will always find in the beer, and that is also because we are very particular about our food, that it has to be spicy and hot, it has to be sharp. So you just take all these ideas that are food related and turn it into a concept, a beer concept, right? The physical aspect of the beer always stays the same. It's going to be in a very matte black bottle with the label Sufferhead, and it has chili. But the flavors changes based on where I'm brewing. And wherever I'm brewing starts with a research with the Africans living there on their food taste. We develop that into like a beer recipe. So for every region or for every city that I brew, the taste kind of changes. And this you can connect to a migrant. You go anywhere, your skin color stays the same. You will never change, but you eat the food from the place, you speak the language for the place, your flavor changes, but your physical aspect doesn't change. It's about being black in Europe. I wouldn't discuss that from, in Nigeria. You stand out being a black person here. There are different kind of situations that it's not applicable for you back home. So the project works in Europe, it works abroad in that sense. It works in the diaspora. Back home, you're home. If I have to make beer, then I'll make a different kind of beer. I've also done some certain kind of work that relates to food and migration, but more in a different way. I did the Continental Entree, which is a piece I did last year for the Botcherstrasse Prize. Sort of looked at certain European countries that are more attractive to migrants, African migrants. And I developed a road sign with with their flags and gave them all Michelin stars. They are the 3 stars and the 1 stars, depending on how, I looked at things like the GDP, the employment rate, or unemployment rate, and also the rate of people moving there. So you just take food and food-related concepts and flip it around to discuss migration. So there's a neon piece that goes with this work. It says food is ready. The E in the ready has a euro sign. So it's about like where we want to go as economic migrants, where it's more attractive, where works for us. And the concept of food is ready is something that you will find a lot in a lot of roadside restaurants in Nigeria and certain parts of Africa, talking about like this restaurant had food, it's available, but at the same time it's not free. Its food is ready, but it's not free food. When you ask any person living here, the truth is, it's not always a negative situation, right? the negativity could be one situation compared to 100 positive situation, but as humans, we'll always, the negative one like touches us more. It makes you miss home, it makes you feel bad and stuff like that, right? And the truth is, the beer project covers every aspect, in the sense that the beer is only an entry point into the project. My background is graphic design. When you create a product, you brand and advertise the product. That is where the main work for this project actually goes to. I take situations and convert them into TV commercials, billboards. So this is like everyday situation. It's not always the bad racism situation. It's also what we gain from being here. It's also what we enjoy from being here. So I put everything together into the branding or creating adverts for the product. So I just have to find inspiration in the different areas, which all covers about being black in Europe, living in Europe, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, everything. Yeah. The advert that we just watched was shot in Casino Baden Baden, which is a historical casino, the oldest casino in Germany. And basically the casino is filled with black people. This you never see happen. The only white people you find in this video are the waiter and the piano player. So you take a situation where normally the servers are the blacks, flip it around and play with that idea. And this is a historical German casino where it's now kind of run over or overtaken by Africans, looking beautiful, wearing designer clothings made by African fashion designers living here in Europe. It also was inspired by a statement made by the AfD that Germany shouldn't let in African refugees because we will take over the place. We have a life-affirming propagation. It's basically this fear that it's the bottom line of migration, the fear of migration, that the country will be overrun by foreigners, people different. So when you look at this TV commercial, it's Africans everywhere, So you just play on that fear. It's that satire. It's you poke fun at that. And these are beautiful Africans looking amazing
and friendly.
That's not aggressive. They're having fun, And I also wanted to portray a different kind of Africa because the average person, not the average person, but a lot of people do think that Africans, for you to be here, you're a refugee, you're suffering, you're running away from home, you're not paying taxes here, you're living off the government. This is a casino where you don't enter if you're poor, of course, they're having a good time. There are different kind of Africans here that pay taxes, employ Germans, and live as any normal citizen would do. They are law abiding. So there's a lot of layers in this TV commercial, but at the same time, it looks like a classic beer TV commercial. Or the tagline for the beer, "Wer has Angst vor Schwarz? Who's afraid of black?" It's originally inspired from the schoolyard game, "Who's afraid of the black man? Wer has Angst vor Schwarz man?" But I'm also talking about a black beer, a Schwarz beer in that sense. So however you want to read it is fine, but it kind of instigates something. It's a mnemonic. It triggers some certain memories. This is what advertisement does, and I pushed that. I played with that. So yes, this is a typical example of that kind of scenario, letting it play. It's a T-shirt. It's a mobile advert. It's a tagline on a billboard. It could be anywhere. So the format could change anytime. It could also be at the end of the TV commercial if it has Angst vor Schwarz, So I try not to lock it down in one box. I try to give it wings to keep flying, and use it in different contexts. You will still run into people that think you're a refugee. You'll still run into people that will ask you their questions. Depending on my mood, sometimes I agree that I'm a refugee. I play the role of a refugee, and I'm grateful that after swimming across Mediterranean, you accept me here. Sometimes you poke fun at these things. But it's to be honest, it's not bad. It's not always a negative perception. People are also curious. They want to find out more. They want to learn. A lot of people have not had that interaction with with Africans that much. So it also affords them the opportunity to learn more. A lot could be ignorant in that sense, but still, they're genuine people here. Migration is not a bad thing. It's two-sided. You give, you take. You learn, you embrace stuff, you also like give out stuff. I'm interested in that fusion. I'm interested in that intersecting point, because most times for people it's either black or white. But I'm interested in that intersection. This is where I'm focusing my creative energy in. This is what this exhibition in Baden Baden is all about. If please return to Lagos. It's not the concept of undelivered mail or the concept of reparation, but it's more like, what you create in exile. When I say exile is not a negative word. Exile is really about being in a place that is not home. So it's about this creativity that emanates or that that is inspired by being in a different place, and also being influenced by home. Home never leaves us. Where we're from, I don't even want to say home, because home is wherever you want to call home, but your roots will never leave you, no matter how much time you've spent abroad. How it influences you to create in a different place. So I wouldn't want to make this kind of work that it's all about anger. No. There are different ways to be angry. It can come out beautifully in an art piece. It's really about this fusion. I believe in having this discourse on the street. People talk to people, and most times you don't even know you're having this discussion. You go in to enjoy a Nigerian meal in a Nigerian restaurant, and something pops out. The question, it could be something instigates it. There's a television there showing clips from back home or showing clips from here. Something instigates it. So sometimes you even leave that place without knowing you had a very, very good discourse, but it pops in your brain later, or when you're doing some work, it will make that connection. This actually came from hanging out in this place. But then you went to have a meal, you weren't thinking about looking for inspiration. We do not mind our business per se when we're together. Someone says something, not referring to you, but you're like, oh, bros, I know what you're talking about. So you start that conversation. We are not going to be inside a restaurant and build this bubble around us and pretend we're not listening or we're not part of this because you don't want to be rude or you just want to be correct. In that sense, we jump into this conversation. I remember a lot that happened during the Nigerian elections. We're all there in Berlin, but you go into this place for a nice plate of okra soup and pounded yam, but you end up spending 2 hours and we're having political debates. It concerns you. It's part of your problem. You're not going to just shut out on that. And nobody finds it that you're rude to do that. We like these conversations. We live in a community. We believe in community, and that's part of it. So even when we're in a bus in Lagos, for example, it's not a one-on-one. Everyone will join in these conversations. We also import that kind of idea here when we're in our space. When we walk into that Nigerian restaurant, it's Nigeria. Or it's Africa, because it's not just Nigerians going there. Africans, other from other parts of Africa coming to this space. It's Africa, it's motherland, but this is Berlin. It's a Nigerian restaurant in Berlin, but it's almost like it's this kind of embassy that has this, like, how do you put it, like, whatever. You walk in there and you are there. You're not in Germany anymore. All the rules, all the polite rules and every regulation, you skip it outside. There, you bring it on. This is also where you listen to their experiences. A lot of them have been here more than I've been here. Some have been here 10, 20 years. So I actually learn a lot from them. I just, most times I'm the one not talking because I can't compare my experiences or my time here to the time they believe they are spent here already. Then it doesn't become an individual experience.
Yeah.
You just find out it's actually a collective experience. Other people have experienced this. And also it's then that people can advise you, when you put it out there, some already have a way of navigating these situations that you do not know of. Mm-hmm. You also learn. But bottom line is therapeutic. And also, it's this kind of thing where the community comes into play for you too. You just also realize you're not alone. It's that sense of community, which it lacks most of the time here. This is kind of an individualistic society, and a lot of people are not used to that. Yes, you may not be able to find your people, but you can track that out. Or hopefully, I hope you can track it down. It makes a lot of difference. You know, some people live in places where there are not so many black people or Africans. Baden Baden was kind of like that example, but we shot a TV commercial with 35 Africans in that space. Some came from far, you know, outside Baden Baden, but it was kind of like an invasion, like, oh, where did all these Africans come from? Well, these were the everyday people. None of them, it's like a professional model or actor per se, you know, but they being together, having that communal feeling, it turned into a party. They turned up, like we say. They turned it up, and then, yeah, that taught me a lot of stuff too. You know how we want to make something and we're looking for, I need a model, it has to be perfect. It's always perfect. Bring the right people together, it's perfect. If I miss Nigeria, if I miss Lagos, if I miss Enugu, I'm fortunate to know what I can buy a ticket tomorrow and go back immediately. Not everyone is that fortunate, right? But I also think even if you're spending 1 week here, 1 year here, 10 years here, you can make a place home for a day. You can make a place home for a week. You know, and you will never really be at peace if you still try to have it in your head that this is transitory or like this is temporary. Even if it's temporary, a home can also be temporary. I can also dismantle this home anytime and move. You know, but accepting that this is where you're going to be, even if for 24 hours, changes a lot. You accept that, you make the best of it, you find how it works for you. So, but like I said, it's different strokes for different folks. You know, the truth is a lot of people will tell you, oh, this is not home, I hate it, I don't like it. But do they want to leave? Tell them to leave. They don't really. It's always this bittersweet experience. And this is life.
Yes.
This is life. And that's also what we translate with the Sufferhead beer. It always ends up bittersweet, you know, in a way. It has these bitter notes of coffee and chocolate, then it leaves a sweet taste afterward, you know.
I can absolutely confirm that.
It's home. Yeah, I can call it home now.
Okay.
Yeah, I have I also have my home in Nigeria. Yeah, I think these are two places that have to work together.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to leave one place for the other. I've established something here. I've established something back home. Production is working excellently here. Inspiration ideas is also working over there, and at the same time, they can flip. I'm grateful I had that opportunity, or I can do this. You know, I'm very grateful about that. You know,
has being in Nigeria home changed?
I recycle in Nigeria. You know, it's also this kind of thing where you switch codes all the time. Like once the plane lands in Lagos, you switch automatically. You know, it's kind of this automatic on and off button. You know, I'm not going to be calling my friends and making an appointment to see them. I still turn up and knock on their door. But here, you also come back from Nigeria to here and you switch. You're not going to knock on doors. You're going to make appointments. You know, I can't. I'm not going to call my friend and say, "Oh, you're available in 2 weeks." They will also think I'm crazy. You know, what do you mean? When did this start? You know.
But your personal community is a mixed one here.
Yeah, totally. I'm in Germany. My personal community cannot be only Africans. No.
Yeah.
It's mixed completely. Yeah. If not, you'll be a perpetual wanderer. You know, you it's all about airport and hotels, you know, and in betweens. So, but it's always good to come back here in Berlin or Lagos or Enugu and lie on the couch that is actually your size because you bought the couch yourself, and not a couch that is put up in the hotel or whatever. So
I mean, your size, can you just stand up so we can see on the camera? I mean,
if I stand up, the camera is not going to pick the view. You do certain things that actually you learned it because you've been on the road for a long time. You've learned how to adjust to these places. You adjust. There are ways to cheat time zones. There are ways to cheat jet lag. You learn all those things, you know. You create the music you listen to help you get into a place or help you get out of a place.
That's what you said earlier. What is it? Music, food, and friends.
Music, yeah. Music, food, and friends. I'm not going to mention the fourth one, but yeah. On camera, no. You know, these are sensorial things that help you, you know, escape. Even if you don't escape physically, being able to escape mentally, being able to escape spiritually. I do that a lot with what I hear or what I listen to and what I taste or what I eat. You know, you curate your food and music and you're fine, actually. I don't think anything is impossible. You know, I believe in, if you can think it, you can do it. So if you limit it, it's basically because you didn't want or you don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, the truth is, even without money, there will be ways to do it. Mm-hmm. Even with money, there will be, you know, you have connections, you can do it. I don't think, I hope there will not be anything that will be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it because of the color of my skin, you know. It's like when you have a door that is not locked, I mean, it's just closed. You can either gently open the door and walk into the room, or you waste your energy trying to break down the door. Breaking down the door is not necessary. It's not locked. You just turn the handle and it's open, you walk into the room. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm. You still go into this room. So the room could be the situation or the problem or the, you know, whatever it is that you want to bring to the, to our forefront. But why expend your energy on breaking down the door when it's not? You can just turn the handle and walk in. Like they say, there are different ways to kill a rat. It's about the goal. We say in Nigeria, you know, after running, you count the mile. In Igbo, I go a mile. When you finish the race, you count the mile. So at the end, it's about getting to the destination. It's a kind of project that it's a seed, like a seed planted, but you know, it's like throwing away. It's like eating some fruit and throwing it away, and it starts germinating and growing, and you come back there. Oh, it's this size now. Oh wow, okay, let's continue from here. You go back again, you come back. It's like this size. Oh wow, it's growing. So it keeps growing. So I wouldn't say that it's this kind of genius idea that I had from the start that it would keep going this way. No, it just wasn't that. It just wasn't close. You know, I did something and okay, it's fine, here it is here now, and I come back. Actually, I can continue from where I stopped, and I did that again. I'm not sure. Tomorrow I have certain ideas of what I'm gonna do with the Sufferhead project, but beyond that I don't know. But I know that something will come out of this next stage. Mm-hmm. So that's how I keep it that open. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad I was able to see that opportunity when it presented itself, because sometimes we don't see that opportunity when it presents itself. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that I did. I'm happy that I'm able to take it and run with it. Yeah. And I'll keep running with it. I'll keep playing, I'll keep working with it.